Huh? Okay, great. All right, everybody. This is a very special, crazy, wonderful opportunity.
Coming from a Denver woman.
Coming from a Denver woman. Yes.
Well, Denver really is St. Louis, Missouri.
You think
very
so?
Similar.
They're similar.
Very similar.
I felt right at home. I have to tell you, I felt right at home. I want to share this page. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my divine pleasure to introduce and welcome Pam Grier to the studio. Hello, my dear.
Girl, namaste. May the power within you be strong.
That's right. Now, see, folks didn't know and may not have been aware that you slipped in and out of here to make a film.
Yes, I did with St. Louis money. There's some money here. They came to the set and they financed Bad Grandmas with me, Foxy Brown, and Florence Henderson, the Brady mom. And let me tell you, we were separated at birth.
You think?
She was so funny. It was like a master class. We never laughed so hard. We would finish.
Did y'all meet for this film? Was this your first time meeting?
No, we had met on a Hallmark movie called Ladies of the House.
Okay.
And our characters were a part of a church, and the church would buy abandoned homes, and we would renovate them for the homeless. Mm-hmm. And so we met only because of the spirit of the show. Yeah. It was going to be marginalized on TV. And we just met, and I said, this is the Brady mom. And she knew that I had done, this is what I do on my off day. Like I was telling Tom, that what I do for Thanksgiving, there's an animal sanctuary where they find homeless seniors to live on the farm and take care of abandoned animals. Mm-hmm. And I've made Thanksgiving dinner for them every year for 40 people. And that's a lot.
You made things, you cooked?
I cook.
Okay.
Oh, please. If
so
you're from
what
Denver,
can't you do? Right. You gotta know how to cook, right?
Well, my family and a lot of and you probably will discover that as well. A lot of the African Americans in Denver from the Black West, the Underground Railroad, they had a black township in Bennett. They have the Black Rodeo there, which has been, over almost, 25, 30 years. We have a lot of heritage in Denver and Colorado and Wyoming. My mom's from Wyoming. And my great-grandmother, who had a sugar beet farm, she was a single woman, and she had a hotel for the African Americans and Chinese that worked on the railroad, a la Blazing Saddles.
Okay, yeah.
That was my grandma, Lucy Davis, and you can see her on Twitter, a picture of her in her little saucy little Victorian dress and her hat.
I wonder where you get any of that from, Pam.
Well, that's from...
You come from a line of greatness.
And my grandfather was the first feminist in my family that taught all of us girls, including you would be. I know you, my cousin.
I know, right?
I see your nose. I see your nose. Come on, you can't escape the nostrils.
That's right.
He taught all of us girls to hunt and fish and shoot.
Right.
Bring the boat in, drive the tractor, change spark plugs.
Okay, right.
Change the tire, change oil, and it's traditional with my family. No matter how much you have, we always go around to our elders and say, okay, who needs snow tires? Who needs a hot water heater?
That's right.
We always took care of our family and our neighbors. And we were in our neighborhoods weren't predominantly black. They were Koreans and there were whites. And they were like cousins.
It was very diverse.
It was very diverse.
Yeah. And that's where we differ from Denver and St. Louis.
Yeah, well, it's St. Louis is different because if you look at historically Missouri, where a lot of the people who were supremacists and who had issues, they started in Missouri. And so if you have that culture, you won't have what we had.
Right.
And I think it was either altitude or cold weather. But, but our white neighbors could pull us up on the porch and say, you're supposed to be home.
Right.
Come on, I'm going to call your mama.
Right.
I'm going to call your mama.
Right.
Come in the house, eat some supper.
Yeah.
Where's your books?
And that was something that, and I noticed that. And I think, we were unique in that. And that's something
still today.
Sure, I would agree.
If you look at Aurora, you look at the theater shooting, you look at all that, there are families that are so intermixed, and we're welcome because, we're going to need that. It's about the tribe that takes care of the children, and they're all colors. And so you don't have this hostility that you have in other cities that has historical a representation of oppression and Jim Crow and discrimination. We didn't have that.
Yeah. Well, Pam, you're talking about what's going on a broader narrative, because
it is a broad narrative.
Yeah, right now this is.
But you know what? A lot of it is unnecessary because it's almost, if you critically think of why, and you keep asking why and going back to the source of why is this, because you create your own economy, you create your donut shop, you create your existence. And when I was talking to the farmers, I live in a rural area. I rescue horses
and dogs
and train them for a therapeutic riding program.
Yeah.
I rescue people. I rescue myself. I learn.
Rescue people and I rescue. Let's dig into that a little
more.
But
wait.
Yeah.
And the reason being is
What's
because
the why?
When people ask me why do I go to the Comic-Cons, why my book, I like to go out and meet the people, to thank the fans for supporting my career for 50 years, but supporting the film industry, which documents who we are from here today back 200 years. And you got to thank people. You got to thank the fans.
Yeah.
Without them, there is no actor. So I'm here to thank
That's why you're
Missouri.
That's
I'm
right.
here to thank Missouri, who financed the movie I did with Florence Henderson, Bad Grandmas.
Bad Grandmas.
And I wanted to say Badass Grandmas.
right.
I changed the title.
You wanted to go easy with it.
But the thing that you have to you can't be a good actor unless you get out in the communities.
Okay.
I have people who said, my children had never been around Black people, but they see you, they see what you do and your kindness. I'm Auntie Pam to a lot of white kids.
Oh yeah,
kids.
You're a lot to a lot of us. When you think about, and you're talking about this village,
that.
You do. And
guess what?
At
the feed store, there's people who are white that have dreadlocks that are pink that's showing up to buy chicken feed.
Right.
Because it's a new day,
and it's inclusive,
and they said, "Of course you were here.
Yeah.
We want our children to know
That's right.
that.
That's right.
And so there's almost a false sense of, and if you don't read, I know there's certain groups that feel they've been left out, but I have told and talked to many because the farmers shouldn't have to shut down after the first freeze. They have been treated like, as we call it, red-headed stepchildren.
The farmers.
Yeah. There's subsidies to help them build greenhouses so they can bring in organic food from the farms every day.
And so that boundary then is in the knowing.
It's in the knowing.
Yeah.
And that the farmers are saying, Black people aren't our enemies. It's the government who have denied us access, like the big farms, pharmaceuticals, but the farms that say you don't need to farm. Yes, you do. That's what you do best.
Sure.
And to bring in within 30 miles from the farms to farmers markets every day in the winter, a fresh picked carrot that morning.
The difference that could make. Ooh.
And bring in food to the homes and businesses and hospitals and all the businesses, as opposed to buying stale food that's toxic.
Right.
Let them know that they are valued. Without food and farms, there is no people.
Well, and then that reliance upon one another for that. We feed and support. They feed us, we support them.
Yeah.
It's a sustainable cycle. Now let me ask.
I don't want toxic food in the market.
Right.
It all should be organic at the same price for
Are you
everybody.
all organic or?
Pretty much. That's all I buy.
Yeah.
But
fresh and
very, very fresh.
You have a farm.
But I'm near
near you?
An area that in Elizabeth, a rural area where that's all I can get. That's all I want because I don't want to taste a carrot that's been in a warehouse for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's not, fresh pick. You're buying food that is 50% of a nutritional value.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm sure that's a key part of your longevity. Now,
But
it's
a key part of everyone.
Everybody's longevity.
But
actually, and you want them to know.
Hard heads, soft behinds. There's a false sense of my race, my community is better. Okay, well, what do you do? What have you done for community?
You sound fired up.
No, but that's what I hate. People see, we're not going to get today back. We're not going to get last week back. We are so gifted. If I wake up breathing, I'm going to have a good day.
For sure.
So why squander it on BS.
So what are you looking forward to? What do you have your sights set for? You talked
Getting
about
Foxy
50
made, my autobiography made. We got Jade Harrell.
There's some stuff to tell.
I want Jade Harrell to play Richard Pryor.
Is that right?
He's been meeting with Benny Richburg, who wrote the screenplay.
Yeah.
Benny Richburg was the showrunner and executive producer of Fresh Prince, Martin, and the Jamie Foxx Show, and he saw my book at the Samuel French film industry bookstore. He jumped out and optioned it that night. When he read it, he was reading like he was on crack. He read it, he said, "Okay, this is now."
It was that good.
Now it won the it came on the New York Times bestseller list in April 28th at number 20.
Congratulations!
And we won the African American Literature Award.
Fantastic.
And
but of course, you naturally wanted to bring it to film.
Well, because it covers so much of our society, a woman's society.
You've seen every era and transition.
I have seen.
Yeah,
I have seen.
Share with us some of the transitions that you've experienced and seen and how you had to adjust.
Well, when you talk about the women's movement, which was parallel to the civil rights movement, and I had both of those marches and narratives and retrospective and introspective thoughts, critical thinking of both sides. How do women teach? How do women learn that there is a freedom for them?
Right.
And you find out when I went down to Australia and I was speaking down there in Melbourne, and I was talking to the women they know more about the U.S. than we do. It's amazing.
Well, we're studied.
We're learning. We're learning.
Studied. Yeah,
However, there's so much on us. Sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees because we're so much.
We're in an entrance.
We can't see. But I said, okay. So my mom, who put on jeans and took us to the hardware store because all of our men were in military, either Vietnam, dead, or were marginalized. She had to cut the grass.
Right.
So I was saving my college money by cutting grass, ironing clothes, babysitting when it came to formals and everybody. I could babysit instead of one child, 20 on every bed and sofa.
You had a system going.
I did. I'd become like, Mom, here's $700.
That's right.
This goes
we
to
make that
my
right.
school goes
we
to
make
us.
It work, right.
And I was an entrepreneur then, and I'd had some personal issues, but that's another chapter. We'll get to that chapter.
Yeah, sure.
But I wanted my mom and my granddad. They brought up some really interesting things that I wanted to share with the young women of today, because it's a mantra every day.
That was one of the questions
to talk about
to
independence.
Yeah, could you share that?
Okay, so if you or your father and your grandfather, the men in your society, your brother, uncle, didn't support equal pay for you, and you're only 78% of the dollar to this day, then they come home ill or widowed, or you got to take care of them. Well, say, okay, then I'm only going to give you 78%. So one leg ain't going to get washed.
Right.
Okay? You only can eat 78% of that sandwich.
Right.
Okay? That's all you got. And so women stood up and cheered.
Okay. That was
because
one of the eras.
That's the point that you almost have to visualize to get the point across.
Right. Now, Pam, but you're at the forefront. You're out there, visible, living it, representing it.
Hey,
and
my truck is a 1999.
You got a 1990 truck? Yeah, I knew you drove a truck.
Yeah, I drive.
I'm a truck.
I have trucks, and I drive a Subaru because Subaru is my corporate sponsor that helps me provide for Dining Out for Life. We raise $4 million a year in April for people living with HIV/AIDS, for Pilots and Paws. We airlift 10,000 animals out of kill shelters and stuff. So that's just what I do.
Well, Pam, it just sounds like you're a real advocate for people. You said you save people, you save animals, and you save yourself.
I teach what's been given to me.
And that's a part of that, right?
I wouldn't have been given
Why are you so
PhD.
committed to that?
Well, Maryland University Eastern Shore gave me a PhD in humanities.
All right, so you're
and it's
Dr.
not
Grier.
honorable. It's a real.
You earned that. Well,
I earned it. I was like,
nobody can say Miss Grier does
my
not
dog
work.
helped me edit my.
Right.
It was my thesis. So, and I have a honorary one from Langston University, historically black university.
Dr. Grier, go
for the ag students they're the game changer. That's what we're talking about, ag. Yeah. How they can come in and help people understand. You got to have your own garden. You got to have your own food.
Well, that's about to be more accessible with the open ag movement going on, and being able to infuse technology with growing.
You have
it's
to.
Incredible.
It's there. But also back in Aspen when I was skiing with a bunch of wealthy people such as Jack Nicholson, Warren Beatty, Don Simpson, Bruckheimer Simpson, I was skiing without helmets, doing crazy stuff, skiing to James Brown
Are you
on
fearless?
the Black Diamonds,
Yeah.
But also I knew about these inventors at the same time that Apple was being invented by Jobs and
See, you've seen before the pre-Apple days.
yeah, but guess what?
But
they
still
were
touching
doing?
lives. What?
There was these two guys inventing in a garage of a cabin water making machines that should be in every home. That it was like the size of a refrigerator, and if the coils would freeze and they blow warm air on it, and condensation of water is produced and goes into these reservoir tanks. So when you come home from work, you have water made so you can live remotely.
I love it.
So where is this?
Why
in a time where we are going to, it won't somebody
be able to be
bought
denied.
them out. Somebody bought them out.
But it's gonna
come back because I've been promoting it. I've been talking about it.
Well, that brings me to this point where
another
I feel
point.
like you. I know because you got me. You got so many wonderful things. Because it sounds like
we're filled with so much. It's right in front of us.
It is. It is. You for us have been Wonder Woman and have fought and stood for the fight in many areas, from gender to race to culture to socioeconomic to community, and now even global issues. Has there been a challenge for you that you took on that was more difficult than another?
I think
than the others.
Experiencing cancer when I was 88, and it was 1988. I was 39 years old. Everything was fabulous, and I went in for just a regular checkup, and it's like, we just looked at your blood work, and you need to come in tomorrow. And I found out I had a serious stage 4 going into 5 cancer. And it's like, are you sure that's my 5?
Right.
Are you sure? And it was. And I called my mom, and she said, yep. And so she came in, and the fight was on. And my Harvard-trained oncologist, and I had at the time Robert De Niro's wife. She sent me to her physician, and it was basically, okay, if you don't listen to me in 18 months, you will not be here.
So what did you do?
So we went through the Western medicine, then he sent me to Chinatown.
Right.
And I started practicing Chinese herb and medicine, and to balance.
This goes along with
and
your
it's immune therapy, and not knowing I'm going to have next week.
Did you live differently? Because it seemed like you didn't let any day or opportunity or moment go by without living it fully, based on what we see from the outside.
Well, based on how I was raised.
Person, okay, yep. This is the
based on how
we
never squandered wasted food or water or anything from how my grandfather and my great-grandmother taught us. So I listened and I prepared for, I'm only human. I may not be here. And so that's how I said, okay, but today is going to be full, even more full. So I always worked whenever I was away. I started Hip Hop for Humanity.
Okay, look at you.
I with Chris Lattimore, who is in marketing in Brooklyn, New York. Okay. And what we did is we went to, now I was not as well as I could be because I didn't think I could remember dialogue.
Now this is post-diagnosis.
This is during the 18
during the
months.
Same, okay. And you're still going.
And he came to me with this idea that all these hip hop artists, the record companies were making a tremendous amount of money off of the artists. And it wasn't like Master P, who had his own, record company and his own distribution, or MC Hammer. These were people who had gone and had, really these contracts that they were using their advances flippantly, didn't even know that was the money they were going to make to act crazy and spend and, go overboard. They didn't have management skills, which is important to life.
Right.
Very simple.
Yeah.
You just have to apply it.
Yeah.
So.
Did you run into that in your industry?
I didn't.
Okay.
But maybe other people did. But I was coached by John Gaines, my agent, of what to do and how to do it. So that was prior to my illness. But I applied the lessons learned. I applied to, okay, I'm going to all of these record companies with a letter saying, we'd like for you to donate on behalf of your artist. The cooks from...
How was that received?
It was received very well.
Okay.
The cooks from Rikers Island were going to cook the turkeys for 25,000 people for a soup kitchen in New York.
Okay.
For Thanksgiving. and they donated a large amount of money, and Miramax, Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, well, that was
the Weinsteins.
I've got that on my list of conversation. They matched it. Sure,
they matched all of the record companies in one check,
and they served people for that.
And we fed 75,000 people.
Now, how did the artists come out from that?
They came out who were available, came out and served, met people. They went on the air. They talked about. I flew in, did a Fox Lou Dobbs. I ran. It was a Thanksgiving parade, and the limo couldn't get through, so I jumped out the car and ran to the station. I ran. I said I had on my sport bra
you
today.
You are such a trooper. Folks don't know.
And I made it by like 1 minute. I said I'm going to promote, and to people, come eat, bring food. You can take food home. You can take several plates of food home,
as well as feed the artists the knowledge of how to handle their business and deal with management and their situations.
There should be almost classes in school for artists, brand for there's in business school, especially in film school. There's called brand artists and audience development. How you have a brand of an actor. If an actor does one movie, there's several studios going to have that actor and 4 or 5 to help create that brand and create an audience for it, which is a commodity. Like soap.
Right.
If they don't continue to recreate themselves, their brand will fail.
You know this better than most. I mean, not only do you have a good solid brand, but you have recreated yourself. There's been not one genre that you haven't touched. You make us laugh, you make us cry, you make us fight, you make us think, you make us love, you make us feel amazing. At every turn, you've rebranded, recreated, and come with something new. What is your personal brand for as you see it?
I'm a teacher.
Come on, Pam.
I got to teach.
Bravo.
I got to share. And because I learned from a great teacher,
you did.
Tamara Dobson, the late Tamara Dobson, when she was doing her first film, Cleopatra Jones, and I had just done Coffee. And I'm coming from Colorado, and she was like, sisters in Colorado?
Right, everybody.
Oh boy, did I show her. She said, you crazy.
Right.
She taught me makeup and hair and wonderful stories of being in New York as a model, and the trials and the obstacles and things. She was like raw, no makeup, no hair, just telling me about all the things she had to go through. And I was sharing her.
I was going to say, weren't there some places where y'all could share
similar
experiences?
And we did. We had the same agent, John Gaines. He had me, Tamara Dobson, Richard Roundtree, and Isaac Hayes. The top 4, we were major stars at that time, from 1973 or 72 to 1978. And he wanted to move all of us to mainstream, develop us as a brand of being dedicated
It's
and
interesting
creative.
For you to say mainstream, because today we could say you're mainstream, but there was a time
it moved into that
wasn't
it wasn't. Well, we were barely recognizing ourselves in movies and going like, this is us, and the reason why I thank Jack Hill and I thank American International Pictures, who wanted me to show the black woman from Colorado, bringing guns and courage. I didn't flinch when you pulled the trigger. Show that was that they asked to see, what was your community like? Who would you want Coffee to be? My mom. She was a nurse.
So you had input.
Yeah, they asked me to be a part of the creative process. Because they hadn't come to the hood.
Yeah,
and I asked them, and they could have, and they should have, as a director today, Coppola or Scorsese. Or even Antoine Fuqua, they go to the source. Even John Singleton, who came to my book signings, so
how nice.
But that's what a director-writer does. You have to go to the source, and if you don't go to life, you can't write and be a good actor unless you see Middle America, unless you see there's the whole life outside of L.A., New York.
It is. Well, that goes to your point. You said, I meet the people. You're not a good actress or actor if you're not meeting the people and the fans.
You can't be.
And as a writer and director, you need to go to the area.
You got to go. You got to smell and sniff. You got to smell the catfish. You got to go to the juke joints.
That's right. And it's not going to all smell like roses, but it'll be real.
I'm being asked. There's a director and a group for projects that, when they found out I tied my own flies to go fishing, they went. They had a knee-jerk reaction. Almost. It was like, oh my God, you tie your own flies? I said, yeah. And we go hunting. And I drove into town in a Jeep. The family's hunting Jeep.
You get wow all the time, right?
And I told him, I said, well, if you didn't wear a kidney belt, I'd have to stop every 2 hours just to rest my kidneys, or I would have blood in my urine.
Oh my
so it was like,
where was that
I'm
rough?
a transfer student with no money. Well, $33 and a bucket of chicken, going from Metro State, which was established in '67 as one of the best universities now.
Okay.
I was given the Golden My Year Award for political studies. And Golden My Year went to Denver University in Denver for 1 year. And her Victorian house is the women's studies on campus at Metro State. They gave me a piece of her floor before she went back to Israel and became prime minister.
Look at that.
I studied her.
Yeah, and you stay connected. So I want to bring up the point about Me Too. You mentioned the Weinsteins and Harvey. Now, you've been not only a sex symbol and what many of us aspire to and have, surely along the way, you've had to face and dealt with the challenges of being in an industry that sexualizes the actresses and people who are trying to achieve and get to a place of being. How did you take that on, and what can you add to that conversation today?
Well,
what do you think about it coming out?
Well, my personal narrative.
What about you?
It was going to happen because I was sexually attacked at 6 years old.
I'm sorry.
By neighborhood kids, family.
Before
what the
industry.
Young boys had seen and heard. I was 6, they were 10, 12, and 13. And then I was attacked again in college by a family friend who was at my family's home. When I came home, I was working 3 jobs, going to Metro State. I had no clothes. No, I wasn't a fox. I didn't have on makeup or hair. I was a student.
Any of this.
Before any of this.
I was a student. Yeah.
A student. And I was attacked, and it was horrific. It was a professional football player. And I said, he said, well, your parents said you don't go out, you don't have. I said, no, I don't have time. I'm a student. And well, come, with me and meet, like some of the ball players and their wives and stuff. And it was a party. It was a very social party. And the wives and the girlfriends were, very sophisticated. They had great clothes and makeup and hair. And I was like, why am I here? They're looking at me like I'm like, I've been cleaning windows.
Right.
I was like, where did she come from?
Right.
So I wasn't sexually attractive. I didn't have on short skirts. There was nothing.
Right.
But I looked vulnerable. And that's when I was attacked.
That's the conversation.
And I tried to stop it. And I knew that if I'm fighting, I'm going to injure myself. And I said, I want to go home alive. I don't like this. And so the first attack, the boy said, if I tell anyone, and I said, for about what? I was hurt. I'm hurt. I don't know what you did. I'm too little. I don't know what you're talking about, but I won't tell anyone. And only until my older sister got, she said, are you okay? I don't know. I'm hurting, and this is what happened. And then she said, well, you don't tell anyone. Reason being, there's a point why as a little girl, I didn't tell. As 18, I didn't tell my folks who introduced me to this man. And then it happened again in California. Why I was working at 3 jobs, trying to get into film school. And I escaped it. It wasn't successful because of the person who was attacking me. I fought back. And it opens up, it's in the movie. Because I know the men in my family, the relatives and cousins and uncles, would have gone after those people. And there could have been mayhem, death, prison. I would have lost part of my family if I had told.
You bore that burden.
I protected and saved my family. So my situation is different.
Yeah.
Now for Hollywood,
but this is that conversation.
It's a conversation
even bigger than Hollywood.
But it's not just Hollywood.
It's everywhere.
It's if you want to say systemic, in a patriarchal society of ownership. It might be biblical in certain cultures. It might be economics in certain cultures. Every situation is going to be different of why there's silence, of why you don't understand a business decorum. 9 to 5, you meet in an office. There's a decorum. If I meet
another class,
I don't
meet.
It's another master class.
A master
I
class.
don't meet someone to talk about a film at a restaurant or a hotel after hours.
So
what does that say?
It does.
But you should be able to do that.
So when you look at some of the other issues of access and breaking in a saturated, hard to break industry, you can understand
well, it is a misrepresentation of power.
What can you say for the young women, to the women? What would be your masterclass takeaway for the women?
It's what I could,
in industry or not.
Well, usually they're represented by an agent or a manager, and it's been set up. And so today they almost don't even meet people. They look at footage and film and DVDs of a monologue, something that's read. To me, that's really legitimate. You have someone go with you.
Yeah.
But when you read about now, I knew some of these people before they made big producers with huge huge successes, and I was shocked, and it made me upset. The fact that now, how do we prevent or stop men from acting out on their libido?
Well, where's
and
the line?
Their sexuality. They have to learn it. They have to know that.
Well,
and they almost have to say, this is the situation. Are you agreeing? Is this something that you want to do? And you say, nope, see you later. I'll talk to my agent. And so it's up to everybody to say no, because there's boundaries that are broken. It's like if someone did that, I walked into an office and there's someone standing there, in a robe, it's like, what time is it? I'm gonna say, well, it's not time. We're not gonna just. But I would be. You're wasting my time. I could have saw other people today.
Yeah.
So don't waste my time. So
that sounds like a confidence issue that you have that is not widespread. There's studies that show
there's studies that
80% of adult women. Okay.
There's women that are saying, I got to get a job. Yeah. I'm living in my mom's garage. How do I get this job? How do I help? And so if you buy into, and I can't say it's the woman's fault or the man's fault. It's like,
but if you buy into,
you control your situation. You control not having to depend on someone when you need your rent paid.
That's right.
And there's some people that say, well, then that's there's some dark water that you stepping into. If you don't know how to swim.
Yeah. How'd you get through your hard times?
I worked all the time.
You were a worker. You still working?
I worked. I didn't want. Well,
you're working. But here,
the last attack that I had in Los Angeles, I had turned down Roger Corman. He said they had taken me. Said there's a role that you'd be perfect for. You haven't been like overly produced Hollywood. You haven't been touched. You're kind of pure. Well, with my fro, if you look at the early fro from Pam, it was rough.
It was nice.
It could hold guns and razor blades. I'm from Denver.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm from East Denver.
I'm strapped.
I'm from East Denver. And when they told them that I was from Wyoming, I could hunt and fish and shoot, and they had to shake their head.
Everybody keeps going, wow.
You're not white.
They don't
you're not white. You're black. I said, yeah, but because y'all stopped reading about the Black West, so you don't know. I am entering who we have been and overlooked. We've been invisible, and now I'm bringing this visibility to film.
That's exactly
and it made them unique. I stayed my unique self. I didn't want to become 5 different, 5 of similar Ruby Dee's. She's already brilliant.
Yeah.
I couldn't be Julia Roberts. She was already brilliant. I couldn't be Tamara. There was these before me.
Yeah.
Actresses, Lena Horne, Diana Sands, they were already done. I couldn't, so I was just Pam from East Denver in a Jeep with flannel and my $9.99 Sears Timberlands that I wore then. Okay. That's the Timberlands and some flats. That's all I had.
I love how you keep it real.
But I was a starving student, and so I had to.
You kept working.
But I told him, I said, no, I can't leave my 3 jobs. I need to get into film school. I need to save every dime. So I'm sorry, I can't take that. I don't know how to act. I don't know anything about acting. And so right now I'm behind. I'm a receptionist. That's what I'm keeping it real.
Right.
I don't know how to. You don't become a surgeon and you haven't gone to med school.
Right. So, but it can happen with the work.
Yeah. So
you're a testament.
That's
to that.
what. Well, and so after that third attack, and I walked down Sunset Boulevard because this man who was a family friend, an old gentleman, who was supposed to be a mentor and on boards said, here's the classes you should try to take. And then when I said, no, I was out at the UCLA campus and this student film crew invited me to come along. And I really liked the fact they treated me as an equal. I was crew. I wasn't a woman where I had to be catered to. No, you can't move that. It's too heavy. I was crew.
You like that.
I want to make films. That's what I want to do. And he got mad. And so when he was about to leave to go on, I was like sitting in the car waiting, I can walk back, it's only a few blocks to my office. He says, no, I'll drive you by, I'll pack my bag and we'll be out of here. And so I'm trusting a family friend like he's a grandfather.
Right.
And then he says, well, you want to come in for a minute? And I said, well, I said, okay, not thinking that I would be attacked because I'm sitting in the car like, okay. And then when he was taking too much time, I said, I really got to go. I'll walk back to work. I can't be late for work. I've never been late for work. He says, okay, I'll be right out in just a second. And as I'm saying, okay, no, I'm going to go out to the car or I'm going to start walking. And as soon as I reached for the doorknob, that's when the hand slammed on the door. And I went,
here we go.
And he spun me around, and I said, this can't be happening for a third time.
Right.
That's when my whole body went into a talk about Mach 7. I just said, this can't be happening. Not with a family friend. And then his tone of voice and his strength was so frightening to me. It was like, no, he's really going to hurt me because I'm going to resist. In many ways. First, he's going to make me late for work.
That's the first mistake.
Don't make me late for my job. I got 3 of them. I got to go to college. My mom said, women has to get Gloria Steinem, women's movement, get a degree, get an education. My daddy Ray said, if a woman can do something, a man will respect you. That's all I could hear was me riding on the little horse, the horse that helped me speak again. I went back to all the strength that I was given by my farm, my people, peeps who were women who were really liberal were doing everything men did back in Wyoming. There was no definition. The man came home and the plows of the fields were plowed and dinner was on the table.
Right.
It's like, honey, just eat, just sit down, relax. And so I just went through these nanoseconds of, I can't believe he's thinking I'm going to be so afraid of him. I'm going to give in. And I'm not going to tell anybody because I can't tell anybody because my family will hurt him. And so he just felt that. And I turned around. He turned me and slammed me up against the door. And at that moment, I just went into this mode. It's going to be last man walking out of here.
You or me.
So I hit his face and his teeth fell out.
Good
and
Lord.
They fell out on the floor. And as he went, he was holding me by my neck with his one hand, and he was trying to reach his teeth with the other hand. And that's when I spun away, and they ripped half of my, I was so scarred and bleeding.
Good Lord.
Then I found this little table, and I hit him with it. And I was like in the mode of beating beating some ass. I don't know if I can say ass on iHeart, but I started going, I was in this mode. It can't happen again. And I started, I don't even remember. All I know is I got the door open and I was out, and he was trying to recover from the table being, implanted in his body, his person, his head. And I was angry that he did this to my family. He did this to me.
Insult to you and your family.
And it was like, I was shaking. I was talking to myself. I was ripped to shreds. My hair was all messed up. My one little skirt and blouse was all bloodied and ripped up. I was worried about that. That's all I got. I'm a college.
I'm supposed to be going to work.
I was telling everybody, well, a family friend is going to take me to lunch and give me ideas of what classes to take and, guidance, an educated person, thinking I had someone, a protector. Because that's all we knew in Colorado. The men did try to protect their children. And I knew if I told my family, they would feel so let down that we couldn't protect Pammy. And that would hurt them so much.
You were still thinking about I think what I've heard for most of our conversation is how much you embrace and take on the challenges, the struggles, the needs of everybody else. And I feel like we've been such great recipients and beneficiaries of that commitment. So I want to just acknowledge you and thank you for that big giving, serving heart of yours.
Oh, thank you. I was given a lot.
Yeah.
And when your heart is full, you can give back. Yeah, Not everyone can.
Yeah, you can.
And I don't judge
You're
them.
In St. Louis right now to give to the people who are crazy about you. Can I take a second to acknowledge the folks that have tuned in on Facebook? We've got so many folks that are excited that you're here, from Laura Keys to AJ to Chuck Alphen, Kim Coakley, Dion Stewart. Chuck Alphen said, I love me some Pam. Sean Maroney, Ebby Nicole. They're like, it's her.
They're my children, my
Dorian
family.
says, such a goddess. Bless her heart. PhD in humanity.
Yes.
He's speaking on. Marty Casey is one of our area actresses of great talent. Roz Dorsey, Hazel Green, and the list goes on and on. People should be sharing this. I mean, I'm scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
And Twitter, too?
Yes.
Twitter should be blowing
Twitter
up, too.
Twitter will be popping.
There's people who follow me, and they share their narratives with me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I sit out in the corral with my guitar and my dogs and horses and play, and we share recipes, and I go, and it gives me the chills because constantly. These are people who before the internet, we didn't have the social network. Yeah. And now that we're reaching out, we've become this net, this safety net. Yeah. We've become thought processes. We're building our confidence with each other to go out and say, oh, no, I've read this. This is doable. This isn't. I want to take care of myself. I want to do better with what we have, because we don't wake up on a dirt floor in a shack and go have to forage a root to make porridge for our family that night.
Did that for
and
us.
Bring 5 gallons of water back every. You know how you know how heavy that is.
Yeah.
Okay, I work in my barn, and I do muck stalls because I want to know how healthy my horses are, and I look at their poop. I want to see, they're good to go.
Right.
You know, because there's little kids and families that depend on them to teach them confidence.
I love that perspective.
You know, so we teach each other that.
Yeah, we do.
And I don't have that fear. And long as we keep raising our voices to say, oh, no, we're strong. Yeah. You don't seem to understand. You thought you could get over us, but no, you gave us the book, which you didn't want us to have the book. Now we have the book. We have inclusivity. We have other cultures. We share our medicine. We share our food. We share our commitment to excellence, to be better, because we have to deal with elements. Whether it's hurricane, lack of water, you know they should have offshore solar panels for Puerto Rico, for all those islands. Something that will withstand. If the oil rigs can withstand hurricanes, why can't offshore? Our airport has a huge, several acres of solar panels that powers our airport.
So why not
in Denver?
In Denver,
we ain't that behind.
Right, right. Well, Denver is considered an innovative place, as is St. Louis. So there's got to be right. Well, we are so excited that you have brought us yet another great opportunity to enjoy you and your gift and your talent. It's the 26th annual Whitaker St. Louis International Film Festival, and you've got another winner with Bad Grandmas. Y'all are up to some
I am
trouble.
a grandma. I'm a bad grandma.
You're a bad
And I bring
grandma.
a lot of cutting and shooting and killing and learning how to smoke weed. I said,
you're having a good time.
Wait a minute.
with
How high on this cannabis am I supposed to be?
Right.
The beginning of the high, the middle? Because I have to do research on it.
I have to
ask people,
be.
what are you like? Is it THC or is it CBD? Right. How much THC are we doing here at the kitchen table?
How can I really bring
all
this?
of us, so I just said, with all of my Jack Daniels and member of Boone's Farm and all the Thunderbird wine we used to drink in school, and we'd just be sitting there and just pass out on the floor.
In the middle of a sentence.
I'm on the floor. Well, how much did I drink? Well, you killed the corner, Pam. Okay. 2 fingers straight up. Let's go. Hey, girl, Denver.
See, we got to have more time to hang. Send out the invitation for folks to come check out the screening and spend some time with you.
Oh yeah, that'd be great, and I'll be back. We'll be back because I love film festivals. I love to see all the narratives and see Ava's work and 13 and all the great movies.
Okay, now see.
Yeah, I was supposed to do so many series. I said I'm already booked, but I still support everyone and say suggest another actress for the role. I share.
I love that.
I share the bread.
Whose movie? What movie do you want to see? Now, what's something on your list to check out for
Foxy.
yourself? Get this document, this autobiography.
I want Fellini. When I rode my horse through the set in Italy, I was shooting La Cinecittà. I want Roberto Benigni to play Fellini, who was in Life is Beautiful. He was in a concentration camp. I want him to play Fellini. I want Taraji to play my mom.
What an honor.
Yeah, and Jay Farrell to play Richard Pryor, and then Freddie Prinze, a fantastic Latino actor. Yep. There's so many that we feel it's going to be a very strong film about how you survive, how you change the energy.
Yeah.
how you look for the silver lining in so much of life, because we have so much abundance here. So with that said, I'm getting an influx of actors and ideas that are coming in right now. So
master class, do I hear a master class coming up?
I want Jamie Foxx to play my daddy.
Oh, look at now. Well,
my grandfather, because he got a daughter, and he's protected.
He can relate to that.
And I know there's things that she wouldn't want to tell him. She wouldn't, because she knows that Jamie will go off. He might just, and that's why I wanted to protect my women. We will protect our family by being silent.
Yeah, we will. What a wonderful way to close our conversation. I want to be in that master class and hang out with you.
We're going to have some more of that good time. I want to have a master class on the ranch, a dudette ranch, and men, anybody, and we'll sit down and discuss the challenges and fears, and meet my horses and dogs, and might see a mountain lion and bear or two, and see how they feel about how to survive, how do you engage, because we are half horse and half human when we're working with our horses. We don't say we break a horse anymore. You don't break a life, nor do you own a life. You are the guardian of the animals. You don't own the animals.
That's it.
You don't own horses.
Or any of this.
You don't own life.
We don't own any of this.
It's called partnership.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
And if you see it on that level, then you'll have a different perspective and a different level of success.
Absolutely. And you have given us that. Thank you for being with us. The magnificent
Thank you for
Pam
letting me share my soul.
It's my pleasure. I'm just like soaking it all up. Namaste, sis.
And I have tears for everyone who has been a victim of so much in this country that's so unnecessary. We have so much love to give and share and uphold one another. I hope we continue to find that strength of giving and supporting one another. Absolutely. We may not like or understand each other,
but at least we can give and support.
But we're here in this wonderful moment of a miracle.
Yeah.
We're in a course of miracles right now.
Absolutely. And so you are fortunate on tonight, 8:00, because I've been hanging out with you. I got to let you get to your interviews and get ready for your screening tonight at the Tivoli. You can check out Bad Grandmas. And it was shot right here in St. Louis.
With St. Louis money.
With St. Louis money. There's money here.
Yes,
There's money in these here hills.
We found where it was buried.
There's gold.
We had people coming in with bags of change saying, we're going to
do this.
Here's a bag.
Okay, so all my film-making friends and people in production, it's possible.
It is possible.
And it is here possible. If you can just tap into that, support and help one another. Excuse me. Come check out Bad Grandmas. Salute and love to Florence Henderson, her last film at all that she got to share with you, Pam. And we look forward to seeing you tonight at the Tivoli.
And she did share a lot with me.
Yeah.
For a woman, she was 82, and she was talking about all the discriminatory practices and hardships that she went through. A lot of white women didn't have free access to everything.
That's right.
They had many doors closed to them. And there was a silent underground of sisterhood going on.
I bet.
That supported women, and that we could get to this place.
Yeah.
And
we still have a ways to go.
Yeah. We always going. We're always going, because you're dealing with a biological, aspect of people. And you have to understand how to control, because I won't curse in front of children. If there's children, I always ask, are there any children out here? Because I don't like to curse in front of children. I will restrain myself. So if I can
bad grandma got some standard.
I got you. Well, but that's what you do.
That's what we grew up with.
That's what you do. I can't curse in front of my mama. Are you kidding me? Right. There's going to be a skillet flying down the hallway. And she's like a boomerang, man. It'll curve and come
back to her.
Man, she'll be I missed you, but I'm going to get you the next one. I come from a long line of skillet throwing women. That's Denver people, but all of us do. Yeah. But when we bring that to our work, that's where we go, yes.
That's where we shine.
We have to shine. Yeah. We have so much to shine for.
And so without the fear and without the apprehension, don't dim your light.
No filter.
Full out.
Come on, just full out love.
Full out.
I survived my grandmama.
Okay. Right.
I survived in whoopings.
Right. That's right. So you can take on anything. Shouts out to your grandma and your mom. And you guys can find out more at cinemastlouis.org, cinemastlouis.org. This weekend and for the entire week, magnificent film. Support the energy. and the industry right here in St. Louis all the way through November 12th. Yeah. It does a lot for the vibrancy of our community, but especially for the arts and you. Pam Grier, thank you for being with me today.
Oh, thank you for your time, and everybody on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram out there. You know, you've been wondrous for us. You give us food for thought.
I love it.
I love it.
Take care.